All right, we're back live. This is
Yes, sir.
switched up the view for this podcast here, so I got a different approach. I have like my main like monitor screen here, and then like my laptop on the left, and like I just
Mm,
kept like looking over to the left, and I was like, dude, I
your
gotta
neck is
I gotta
probably
get the
hurting.
meme on. Yeah, like my I get a little tweak in my neck, so now I'm like looking
yeah, I
straight forward, game changer.
yeah, I just have my laptop up on a little stand. It's a MacBook, the camera in front of me. So I have a separate keyboard that I use external
Wait, so you have a
to
lap?
input.
You have a laptop, and then what do you have? Like two monitors behind it?
hmm So I have a laptop in front of me that's on like a little stand, and then I have a wider, bigger laptop to my left, and then to the right I have another laptop or no laptop, sorry, screen on the left, screen on the right. The one on the right I actually use like a wall mount to mount it in to swing it out, so it's a little bit higher. It's because it's a
Ah,
narrower
that's
one, so
sick.
it's like yeah, so it's a little bit of space. And technically, I could have another laptop underneath it that I run my ham radio stuff with, but that's a whole other topic of a hobby. So yeah.
I never asked this.
Uh,
Do you listen to music when you work?
I do. And it's mostly when I'm doing production work only. Like, I mean, I can do read emails too, but typically I'll dial in when I'm, getting production work done, or focusing on analytics or something like that. And I will say that 99% of the time it's progressive rock. I am a progressive rock fan, and their themes from all over the place, from like early stuff like Rush to crazy themes bands that are prog rock that are like themed like Lord of the Rings, fantasy style stuff. Yeah, so I run the whole
Nice.
gamut of that. Weird part with me though is I don't actually hear lyrics all that well when I'm listening to music, so it's more of just the sound that it makes. I can't do both. My mind will not let me do that.
Impossible.
So yeah, so it's like, well, I mean, there's a lot of people who are like, wait, you don't listen to lyrics and songs? I'm like, no, I mean, I can, but then I'm not listening to the actual beat or music on it all. Um, yeah, my brain's just not wired to do both. It's kind of funny.
I I'm right there with you. I don't listen to I'll listen mainly like house music where there's no lyrics.
Okay.
So just like a little
Yeah.
like chill kind of vibes music. That's my go-to. No lyrics. I can't
Yeah.
yeah, you can't
So
follow
prog
along or
rock
do deep work with
has
it.
lyrics and shit. I just don't like hear them as lyrics. I hear them as music. It's kind of wild.
Oh, that's so
But house
funny.
music, right on. Cool. That's fun. Sometimes I'll get into some like classical piano kind of stuff that gets kind of epic, or like a Hans Zimmerman kind of vibe to it,
N-
where it gets kind of
Nice.
epic. And you're like doing stuff on a spreadsheet. You're like, this is way stupid. Why am I getting all pumped up with Hans Zimmerman music and I'm in a spreadsheet looking at
uh,
numbers?
that's good stuff. That's good
Uh,
stuff. Well, cool.
yeah, good question
Let's
though.
get into it. I know we wanted to talk about some OpenAI updates. Um, I don't know, Steve. You wanna tee this one up here, like the new kind of product release?
Yeah, new product release called Sora. It's text to video generation. So you can give it a prompt like you do in OpenAI or ChatGPT, and it will then create up to a minute long video. Now, it's not available to the public yet. I think they're only giving it to certain publishers, artists, video creators to kind of give it a test. But if you go on OpenAI's / Sora's landing page they have for it, they have examples of the videos, and I was blown away. I don't know if you've looked at them, but like every single one was pretty amazing.
Oh, wild. And yeah, I think it is 60 seconds that it's capping at right now, right?
For now. Yeah, for
Yeah, for
now.
now. For now.
Yeah, and I think it's probably due to some limitations because they do talk at the very end of that example, and they have example videos where like some of the physics is just fucked up. And it actually, I was watching the ones that were messed up, and like optically, I don't know, my mind was just like super tripped out about like trying to input that process into my head. That's like that physics doesn't make sense, but it's trying to make sense. There's two examples that came to mind. One was a prompt of uh, like a group of puppies or a pack of wolves, puppy wolves, playing around with each other, like frolicking. And like you see them at first kind of playing around, then all of a sudden there's a puppy that's generated out of another puppy, and then another leg's coming out of this way, and it's like, whoa, super weird. Yeah, kind of made me feel awkward. And then the other one was someone trying, I think the prompt was like archaeologist pulling up a plastic chair out of the
Ah, I
sand.
saw that.
And
Out of the
so,
sand.
yeah, that
Yep.
was, yeah, super weird. So they don't understand that it's a rigid piece of material. So it's all like floppy. And then once it comes out, it's like rigid again. And then it kind of floats weird proportionally to where it's at. So, I mean, it's getting there. Not quite there yet, but I mean, shit, this is moving fast, like super fast, right? Last year, this time, OpenAI was just like 3 months in. People are figuring it out. Now we got video that's coming. I mean, dude, 5 years from now,
Nuts.
I don't know where the hell shit's gonna be at. It's gonna be wild.
I saw Mark Andreessen. He retweeted something either yesterday or today where it showed the original, and I don't know where like how they got the video, but like the original version of their like text, like their prompting to video, and it was like Will Smith like eating spaghetti. It looked awful,
Yeah,
and he's like, "This
yeah,
was
I
10
remember
months
that.
ago," and then it was
Yeah,
compared to what it is now, and in a 10-month time it's like night and day. So you, to your point, you could think about like what is 5 years from now. I saw somebody else tweet like somebody's gonna like prediction in 5 years from now, somebody's gonna gross over $50 million at the box office with like two or three person team where they're just prompting their way through a movie. They're not using any actors. You could totally see where this goes in the future in terms of like longer film production. Um,
100%. Yeah, I mean, I watched the latest Indiana Jones movie, and like the first part of it, like all of Harrison Ford was like young AI generated, and I'm like, you could tell, but it wasn't bad. I'm such a passionate fan of the series that I was like, this is totally cool. So if they're gonna make another one, it's all AI generated. I'd probably still watch it if I was a fan, of it all, passionate. So yeah,
oh,
it's
totally.
dude, the movie industry's crazy. I mean, as marketers, I'm not sure where this is going to lead to. I mean, obviously, great, right? We have assets that we need for ads that we can now generate via a video. That's cool. I guess it opens up different platforms of how we do it, right? Video production is always kind of difficult in theory, right?
I think it'll make video production for ad assets easier, no doubt about it. Like I think that's a no-brainer. I would assume though there's probably still going to be for, the next couple of years foreseeable future, there's still going to need to be some type of like designers or somebody who has like an eye for aesthetics that then kind of like prompts it, refines it, makes it a little bit more specific to like what the brand's looking for. But I think like if you're an agency and you had to like fly some team members out to like actually shoot a video somewhere, you just save so much money to not have to do that production anymore and save the time that it had to put into like actually producing that. So I don't think it's like, hey, death to all designers who or videographers. I only think it's probably just going to enhance their ability to like crank out work and save companies money from like actual production costs.
Yeah, I mean, these are right generated scenes. It's not reality. So video production still be. I'm thinking like a wedding, right? Uh, my brother-in-law, he's got a small video wedding production. It's like, dude, they capture a bunch of different moments, and then he's got to bring it all together. Um,
Yeah.
so it's like it's a little bit different on that. I mean, the same thing with like product shots or commercials. Like it's still going to be like AI generated stuff on the marketing side. It's going to have its place, but you're still going to need the videographers and stuff. What I'm thinking though is that let's see where this whole Vision Pro virtual reality goes. Soon you'll just have AI that builds you worlds. You could say, "Hey, build me a world of Indiana Jones. This scene from this movie. I want to jump on
Yeah.
the train and try to go get the bad guys. On a train or on a tank or something. And that I think is where it's going to excel, and it's going to get to a point where AI is building, at least in the VR world, a place that's almost indistinguishable from reality until you take off the goggles. But that's a couple of years out. But I think that's where the technology is going to go next on it.
100%. No doubt about it. I don't know if you listen to the All In podcast at all, but David Freeberg on there, he mentioned like a couple episodes back with like some like this AI and text to prompt video stuff that he's like, I think we're probably going to get to a point where like, you have people building like personalized movies or shows for like themselves, or if you have
Sure.
like I don't know, some like name like your favorite show that you're watching right now. Maybe you could prompt it to say like, "Hey, I want like the like same storyline, but like I want to see like Matthew McConaughey be like the main character in this video as opposed to like whoever else is," and like kind of like customizing it for themselves. I think that's like is absolutely going to happen and kind of seeing like where that's going to progress. I wonder if you're like an actor and actress though in that sense of like how you would be compensated. I guess you would just like,
Digital
get
likeness,
digital
get
likeness,
royalties.
and you kind of get some royalties from it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to have to be
Interesting.
the future of it all. I mean, I don't know. I think there might be a backlash of it all where you're going to have people that are offline, online. I don't know. We'll have to see uh, where that leads. But on kind of another segue of kind of open AI news, which I think is okay to jump into unless there's anything else you want to talk about
No,
this
no,
Sora
go for it.
stuff.
Go for it.
There has been a rumor out there. I was reading this week that OpenAI is reportedly working on a web search service to compete with Google. Now, you got to remember Microsoft is still involved. So, a report from the information, I don't know what the fuck that website is, alleges that ChatGPT creator AI, OpenAI, has quietly been working on its own web search service. According to outlet sources, these services would be partially powered by Bing, the search engines created by Microsoft, one of OpenAI's key backers. So I'm trying to figure out how that interface is going to look like, right? Maybe you're in Chat GPT and you're asking it to prompt in there and it's going to pull in Bing results with AI. It's going to just change where you start your search, but it's still going to be Bing results, potentially. It doesn't really sound like, I don't know. I don't think it's a separate search engine, but maybe where you start your search potentially.
Interesting. Interesting. I'd be curious to see how that rolls out because like the generative experience on Google right now is kind of, I don't know. It's okay. I feel like it's just not that great. Like I did a search literally this
I,
morning and the structured snippet was the exact same answer as the generative experience. Like it was the same exact thing, except one
yeah,
had
I
a link
just
and
think
one didn't.
we talked about this when Will was on. People when they go to Google and Bing for sure, like they're used to those kind of like 10, 15 blue links. They look at it more in that way visually. So maybe ChatGPT people know it's different and it's okay that they're going to get a different result,
Totally.
coming into it kind of experience. I'm just thinking that if it's truly separate of Microsoft or powered by Bing, are they going to pull ads in? That's the only thing I'm curious about because for me, as a digital marketer, I would love to have another place to serve search ads to
Oh, for
users
sure.
outside of Google and Bing. Google takes 90% of our clients' budgets. Bing, it works sometimes, but not a large budget. Like we need other players, man. Like we need some competition uh, in this. So I'm all about it if they launch another search engine that works. So we'll see.
This is going to be a constant theme over the next couple of years of how all of this kind of search engine wars pan out here.
Yeah, I mean, it's how people get data retrieval, right? It's like, I'm curious about something. Where do I go to get that information? I think shopping right now, a lot of it's Amazon for sure. That took a big market share before it was Google. Google's still popular, right? Because that's where, all the Shopify websites are, or the big commerce websites, the real, like, true D2C brands. I think people are still using Google in that way for shopping experience. Information retrieval, though, I mean, we talked about this before, like how to videos or how to's like YouTube, right? It's a visual search that you're looking for, best places to visit and things like that. Like research, I think it's more AI that makes sense to be doing that, right? And trying to solve problems that way. Like instead of having to like search through the bunch of search results to figure out what's the right information, it's like skip a step. AI will summarize that information and then provide it you in a concise thoughts.
Yeah,
So it's like informational queries, but also different types, right? Like, but if you're looking for like top beaches, or maybe beaches could still work, but like restaurants or a plumber, you're still going to need more of that directory service. Maybe that's what it is in my mind. Is that Google? They started off as like an online yellow pages, right? Pretty much, and so it's like they're really good with business listings, business service related stuff that all makes sense locally around you. It's good with shopping, but I think it could lose the whole market on informational like retrieval, like kind of the educational side of things. ChatGPT would easily replace it. Yeah.
But they're also, obviously owners of YouTube. And I don't see how YouTube goes away. Maybe,
No, I
but
don't think YouTube would. I think YouTube would stay on some other queries for people looking for like how to's, entertainment, etc. But like if I'm looking up information about, let's say, Amelia Earhart for my kid's project, it's a real life example I did last night. We got books from the public library, which is great, and I'm scanning through and it's telling a story. But I'm like, I need a couple like hard hitting facts of like how did, what were some of her greatest accomplishments, dude? OpenAI, seconds, boom, jotted down what it was. I didn't have to
done.
research for it. I
Yep.
cross reference with some of the books to make sure. But that's where I think, somewhere on YouTube, like your point is, like YouTube is just a fascinating seat. Like it's there with a lot of instructional videos, how to's, podcasts, just entertainment, and that's always going to stay. And there's not going to be another competitor. Maybe X or Twitter that gets in there, but YouTube's crazy.
I know a lot of people are now uploading on X as opposed to YouTube there. So curious to see
I
how
think it's a
that one pans out.
monetization. I think it's a monetization game, right? They move their content over there, but are they going to do unique content on X? That's the thing, right? Mr. Beast has got to release his latest video only on X. If it's truly going to be a platform where people go get video,
Agreed.
versus, doubling up on both platforms. That's just fucking money grab. Why not if you're a publisher?
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but isn't Tucker Carlson only on X, right? And his own
Only
website?
on X.
He's not
Yeah.
only on
He's
X and
only
then
on
his own
X.
website. Yeah.
I don't know if you know anything about like the Nuck Boys. Like they have like Nuck Boys podcast. They do like prank videos and stuff. This past week they uploaded like YouTube's like where they grew and their whole brand and everything. This past week they uploaded on X only and they didn't post their video on YouTube. And
Wow.
they have a cult like massive following. Like they get President Trump on their podcast. Like they have a large reach and a large following. They just uploaded on X. I think theirs is a bit more of like content moderation policy and issues and stuff because they've
Yeah,
had some
100%.
issues like with YouTube in the past where X is a little bit more like free, if you will,
Oh,
and like
100%.
less restrictive. So I
Yeah,
could
I
see
can
them
see.
being competitive because of that.
Yeah, no, okay, that's a great point because yeah, YouTube has some limitations for sure. They're owned by Google. They're a big tech, right? Elon took over X, so there'd be a lot more freedom on things. Like I watch a lot of like hunting channels and on YouTube, and a lot of them are very careful on how they display certain things because it'll be against the terms of
Yep.
YouTube. So it's like, dude, if you could just post that content on X, great. I think X just needs to have a better kind of like interface, um, to kind of compete with that kind of video browsing. Because I don't think they have anything like that right now,
No.
right?
No.
Yeah.
If you go on the trending tab on X now, they'll have like a little like section with videos and stuff. But totally agree. They I would assume they would have like on like their bottom like different tabs. I would assume at some point they're gonna have just like a video tab where it's just gonna be a scrollable feed, kind of like a
Yeah.
YouTube.
And what Elon needs to do is realize like, okay, Twitter is mostly known for like mobile interface, right? App on your phone. Sure, desktop for sure too. But uh, YouTube, like a lot of people have the app on their TV, right?
Yep.
Um, and they're scrolling through videos that way. Like, dude, that's like our separate channel with our family. And it's like, we have all the people we subscribe to. It's kind of like our
Oh
channel that we
yeah.
kind of roll through. So if Twitter can build something like that for video consumption, maybe they just don't have enough videos yet to do that. But I agree, man. It's going to be the place where you're going to get the content that doesn't fit on YouTube, let's say. And if you
Oh,
can monetize
absolutely.
it just as well, then why not post your friendly ones on YouTube and post the rest on X, for it all. I think that if there is like there's a couple like I listen to or I watch Breaking Points. They're a podcast, but then they cut all their stuff up and push it up into YouTube. Do you ever watch Breaking Points at all?
Time to time, yeah. I'm not like
Yeah.
consistent, but yeah, totally.
Yeah. So they had a lot of videos when COVID was around getting demonetized, mentioning COVID, etc. And it's like, imagine if they had an outlet at the time where they could publish onto X that wouldn't penalize it. They would still get it, so they could still put out information out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. If Elon didn't buy X, we'd be in a very different spot, I feel like.
Oh my God. We could do a
Sure,
whole
it comes with
episode talking
warnings
about
and
that.
disclaimers of like, sure, freedom of speech, etc. You're going to find garbage on there, but you're also going to find information too. It's not restricted. So it's, yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. You're right.
We could do a whole episode on that, and we could probably do a whole episode on like recent Elon Musk news of like, the Delaware court issue and his compensation package. They just
That's fucking
removed from
bullshit. This is
crazy.
insane.
Whoever that judge was in Delaware might have just like significantly impacted that state's ability to have companies incorporate there.
Oh, dude, 100%. Who is going to go to Delaware now after learning that, hey, a giant bonus package was denied?
It's like, hey, no, like,
possible.
Oh, your board approved it, but like, nah, I don't want to pay you. Nope. I'm gonna cut this. Like, dude, who are you? What are you talking about, man? Like, this was already approved 5 years ago, and the board signed off on it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
All In podcast did a breakdown of that deal, and like I don't really remember it at the time, but essentially, like Elon said that he like wouldn't take a salary and wouldn't be compensated until 5 years from now, and the company valuation of Tesla had to double. And everybody was like, dude, you're out of your mind. Like, there's just no way this can happen. Sure, let's do it.
In his biography book, they cover this whole thing. And like, he basically said, fuck you. I believe we can do this. I'm going to work my ass off to do it. I'm not going to take salary, blah, blah, blah. And this is his payout, for all that effort. And he had to have, I think it was a certain amount of manufactured of vehicles and sold. Dude, he's like sleeping on the rooftops of shit, like of the manufacturer place, trying to get things done. It's like, come on, man, give where credit's due.
Dude is a savage.
Too much. That's the damn board's fault for agreeing to it at the time because they didn't believe. So
he said, I don't know how he's doing this, but apparently he's like not. And I don't know if this was like a nonsense rumor, but he's like not taking phone calls anymore. Like, you have to contact him through X. So the only way to like get him on a call or communicate with him is through X. And I was like, dude, that's such a classic Elon move right there.
Might as well, because they have the calling function on it though.
Oh man! All right, let's jump to this Designjoy story, because I thought this one was fascinating.
Yeah,
and absolutely want to speak through this one here. Let me just screen share real quick, and then let me slide this over, because I'm doing a little different camera setup here. So let me just show you this, because I want to give this guy some love here. So this YouTube channel, Starter Story.
Not today, bro.
My
bad joke. Dad jokes.
I wanted to give this dude. So this is where I came across this Designjoy story, which we can get into in a second. I just wanted to give this guy a shout out, Starter Story. I don't know his name. I literally just came across his channel like a couple days ago, and
cool.
He breaks down businesses. So if you go to starterstory.com, he has like all these different case studies of essentially like, I think it's all solo entrepreneurs, but it's usually like very small teams and like success stories. It's awesome. These videos are so well done, and they're usually pretty quick. They're like 15-minute watches, so you can get through them pretty quickly here. Awesome. I would highly recommend checking out this this channel here. But he shouted out Designjoy on here, and of course I don't have this pulled up. So Designjoy is this subscription platform here. So if you go to designjoy.com, awesome like designed website here, super neat. But essentially what this business is I think he has it down a little bit lower. Maybe it's up top here. But essentially what it is it's a design agency where it's a subscription-based service where you get unlimited graphic design work on a monthly basis for a fee. So it's a subscription service. There's no like hours within his contract. There's no project-based work. It's just, hey, you pay this flat fee on a month-to-month basis, and you get unlimited amounts of graphic design, which sounds kind of crazy. But if you think about that offer, and if you think about somebody looking for like graphic designers in general, I think this is really interesting because you don't have to, scope everything out on a project by project basis and think about, hey, like I got to allocate more funds because we got this push coming up. It's unlimited on the month to month basis. So this guy stated that he's a one man show. He has no employees. It's just him, and he's a graphic designer, and he's doing $2 million a year in business. And when I put this in, like we have like this little shared doc, you're like, dude, there's just no way this is possible. So he states now at this point in time, he runs this business where he charges $9,000 a month and has 16 clients. So if you do that math, so 9,000 times 16, that's $144,000 cash flow monthly times by 12. That's $1.7 million. So like pretty close there from that $2 million. He might have just like rounded up for like the thumbnail or like the hook of the video there.
Yeah.
But that's essentially the business model. And maybe there's a couple interesting
Hey, how
call outs
much a
here.
month?
Huh?
How much they pay him a month?
$9,000 a month per client
Okay.
for unlimited design work. So essentially what he said is he was a designer, like your
You say
typical
it's
designer
16
doing
clients?
16 clients. Yep. So that nets out. Like that's close to 2 mil.
Yeah, I get the math on that, but I'm thinking of like, okay, how much production work? Uh,
So
yeah,
he
16
also
clients.
claimed in the video that he does 6 hours of work per day. So he's probably just kind of like guesstimating, but he said like on average he's doing like 6 hours of work per day. So he's not like grinding his face off of like 16-hour days and like that's it. He said when he first launched it, it kind of blew up and it was getting towards that. And then he made a couple tweaks within his kind of like service offering. So he charges $9,000 a month for this. And essentially what he does with clients is he sets them up with a Trello board and he does no calls and he does no client communication. So he has clients just ping through an update on a Trello board that would have, I guess, like templatized version of like how to craft the ask here. So client will ping through, hey, we need like this is our ask, this is the assets that we need, etc. And then he just gets all of these tasks and tickets on Trello and then just does production work. So he takes no phone calls, he takes no client meetings whatsoever, and just gets all clients that are signing up from either like referrals or organic traffic on his website there. And that's kind of how he manages it. Because you've got to think like, dude, if you have 16 clients, how are you managing that as a one person show and how are you like running that business? That was kind of like the unlock that he had in his business. He just takes no calls and just has everybody submit shit through Trello and that is it.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I'm thinking, okay, great, that's awesome. This is cool. You got 16 clients, but it's like project management, right? That's where Trello, even doing his
Yep.
accounting and invoicing, it's got to be all automated. So all he's doing is actually designing. His design work must be freaking awesome if he could sell people on $9,000 a month. And the quality and frequency that comes out of it, like if it's there, sure. Because I could see someone saying, "Well, I'll just hire someone for $9,000 a month, or a couple people, for that knows the brand, etc." So, yeah, I mean, if people have bought it, then that's cool. It's funny because when you're talking about design subscriptions, I remember seeing Design Pickle. I'm not sure if you've heard of them.
No.
Designpickle.com. This is someone I came across probably 6, 7 years ago. They've been around for a while, and they do a subscription, unlimited design. But it's all, I think the teams are rather large in how they kind of do it all. It's not just that one person, so who knows what you would get. But yeah, they have packages starting from like $650 to $2,000 a month, um, kind of thing. Yeah, I never tried it, but it was a concept. I was like, oh, it's interesting. Um, for it.
They do make the
Yeah.
point in here that like it is like this model probably wouldn't work with other agency related tasks. Like you got to think if like you're doing like paid campaign management or like SEO or something, you're probably going to need some client interaction and like face to face there with planning and everything. But if you think about like creative, if you're just like cranking out like image assets, on a monthly basis, once you kind of understand the brand and like the general like aesthetic and theme that we're kind of going after, I mean, dude, I feel like you could really templatize that and just like have the ability just to like crank out work.
Did they talk about how he got the initial clients?
Which that was the one part of the story that I didn't really like, to be honest with you, is like he launched a a landing page, and initially his pricing was $499 a month or 449 a month. So it was like 450 bucks a month. He said he launched it, and within the first 24 hours he got a client. And I was like, dude, like I don't know how, if that, maybe that's the case there.
He like
He did
launched it on
have a
like
good.
Hacker News or something like that. It kind of went viral or something.
Nah, he didn't mention anything about like launching it on anywhere. He just said he put up a landing page online and like somebody signed up for services. He was in an agency capacity there and like had a bunch of experience. So like maybe he had like a client or like a referral that he onboarded and it grew that way. But he said it's been pretty much organic business or like organic traffic and just like referral based.
Huh. That's cool. I mean, if you can get that kind of premium pricing, I mean, there's two ways to make money: low volume, high price, or high volume, whatever the fucking it is. The math on that: high priced, low volume,
Yeah.
etc., or low price, high volume. For it all. So
I thought it was
for a
cool.
one man
I
show, that's cool though. That's really cool though if you can get that to that point. And if it's got a certain velocity to where it's like, hey, you know, he can't take any more clients on, and he's totally fine with it from a lifestyle perspective. It's really cool. That's awesome. Um, shell it out and refer the other business elsewhere or something.
Yeah, that was another thing was like it was more like a lifestyle design. Like he has no interest in like building a team, which I know we've spoken about of like not trying to have huge overhead and like a large team that you got to
Yeah.
manage there.
Yeah. No, I get it. You're pulling in that money and it's one person. I mean, his costs can't be too much. He probably has someone helping with some bookkeeping, but actual like cost for production, it's his software. He's got Figma, and it's just his time.
Literally, that's what he uses, Figma.
Yeah. I mean, what
Yeah,
else is his fees outside of the cost of Trello? Maybe he has Slack with some of his vendors that he maybe helps with outsourcing some stuff. I know I said he mentioned he outsourced some small stuff. I mean, the overhead's got to be super low. I'm assuming he works out of his home or a place. So, yeah, a lot of that's going to be money just right back in. So, that,
I thought it was really interesting. Like I just love that concept that you could just be like a one man show or like an extremely small team and just like have a couple $1 million like cash flowing business. I think that's so sick, and it's cool how like that's possible in this space. I'm sure you could probably think of like some other services that potentially could have a similar business model, but yeah, figured it was worth like kind of shouting that out, and highly recommend checking out Starter Story, that YouTube channel. They have a bunch of stories on there that are really cool.
no, for sure, man. Awesome. I'm glad you brought it up. Maybe we can highlight more of these things as we have these podcasts.
I watched another one, dude. This guy built like a whole like Excel business using Bubble, the no code tool that I taught you that I
Mhm.
mentioned before to you. That one was really interesting as well. So yeah, maybe we could highlight a couple more of those. I would definitely say just give that a check that out and see what you think there.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm always highly skeptical, but I will definitely look. It's just my mind. I don't know.
You've been in the
Uh,
agency game for plenty of time now to have a good
yeah.
understanding of
Well, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too much of an asshole, but it happens.
that. All right, cool. You want to talk
Cool.
about LinkedIn website actions?
Yeah, I mean, LinkedIn had some stuff going on. Yeah, the website actions is interesting. So that came out a week or two ago, and so as long as you have the LinkedIn Pixel on your website, it's going to start detecting different clicks on your website or page views, and that's going to start collecting data in your LinkedIn Ads account to where you can then use those actions. Let's say it's a call to action, a CTN, a call to action, like book now. You can then do all sorts of stuff with that as far as like what you can like build out audiences, you can set up conversions, but it's like kind of takes away the layer of you having to set up any custom tracking on CTAs and page views. They're kind of giving you the interface there to do it, um, which I think is pretty cool. And Trevor, I mean, I know you've worked with it actually and deployed it, correct?
We yeah, one of our clients, we just set them up with that. Where like if you literally click on like website actions tab in LinkedIn, it'll show you like everything that it's tracking. So one of our clients, we just built out an audience off of users who click on their book now or like book a demo button click. So that's going to be an audience that's currently populating. And then also one off of like a login button clicks. So that over time we can maybe build an audience off of those there as well. So you could think like, users clicking on login, maybe you want to negate that from your prospecting campaigns and like get some of those users out of there. And then maybe you want to use that as like another kind of like they don't have like lookalikes or similar audiences there. They're pushing towards like the audience expansion option. So maybe you want to use that as like an audience expansion option. So like, hey, let's go target users who look similar to those logging into the platform. I think that could be a
That's cool.
potential like effective like remarketing outlet. But yeah, I've done some conversion tracking in LinkedIn before, and it's like it's not the most user friendly application to build conversions in, and it does require like snippets of code. Whereas like right now, it just automatically tracks everything for you and saves a bunch of time. Like I think that's such a cool
Yeah,
update that they did
because
there.
alternatively, like the way I know I've done it in the past was like, okay, you get Tag Manager installed on the site, but then in LinkedIn, you set up a custom conversion, you just name it, and you get like the image pixel that you then fire off of whatever you set up in Google Tag Manager. And then from there, you can, but it was only a conversion action. I don't know if you could build audiences off of it at all
I don't know.
of events. That's something I wasn't sure because it wasn't an event; it was a conversion that came through.
Yeah,
So this audience building thing, I think, might be new or a new advantage to this. And by all means, you could still go ahead and use Tag Manager for something super custom, which is probably going to have happen sometimes. But at least you have audiences that you can build off of these items. I love the idea of someone that's logging in. That's a perfect lookalike audience you could build off of. Like, it's
yep,
fucking awesome. And it's first party data. You couldn't
exactly.
ask for anything better. So I think that's really, really interesting. Um,
Yeah, LinkedIn stepping up their game there big time. And I feel like that's becoming a go-to platform for like a lot of B2B advertisers here. It's just like investing in that platform. And yeah, it seems like obviously like clearly they're investing in the platforms themselves and improving some functionality. I wish Facebook would do that or Meta would do that. I don't know if you have a bunch of experience in like Facebook Ads Manager. It's just the jankiest, like worst setup ever for like a behemoth of a revenue generator. Like the amount of money that Facebook makes off or Meta makes off of like their ads manager platform is crazy, and it just sucks. Like the functionality of the platform is just not good.
yeah, no,
It's like they just
it's
don't
horrible.
update things. It's the
No,
worst. I can't stand it.
yeah, setting up conversions and all that stuff is difficult too.
Oh my god,
It's
the
honestly
pixel
something.
in that platform is a joke.
Well, they moved it too, right? It was under like data, now it's under something else, or I can't remember. They moved it, and then you got to connect it all. It's yeah, getting a account correctly going in Facebook is quite difficult. Yeah, the interface is horrible. But
It's the
I think
worst.
also what's really interesting though with LinkedIn, um, another news stories that dropped, I think maybe a couple weeks ago too, was Microsoft
The
owns LinkedIn, right?
Yep.
And LinkedIn or Microsoft owns Bing. So you have a search engine, you have LinkedIn. It's been rumored it was going to happen, but finally, within Bing ads, you can use LinkedIn data in targeting, like job profile, etc., within your ads. Seems freaking awesome. I would love to have that on Google because there's more
Oh my
search volume,
god.
but I don't think we've executed anything on this yet. But it's just really cool to see that we can, bring LinkedIn data into Bing from targeting.
They rolled this out a couple years ago, like that connection with those audiences, and then they removed it. So I don't know what
Oh,
happened
really?
there.
Huh.
Yeah, this was like a good like years ago, like 2018, I want to say, in that general ballpark, where they announced that like a while ago, and I remember when it first came out, and it seemed like so cool. It's like, hey, if you're gonna like start targeting, based off of like job title or company or whatever, like all of those attributes in LinkedIn, like how powerful that could be for like your search engine
Yeah, yeah.
audience targeting. Then they removed it. So I don't know what happened, but yeah, they brought it back, and I'm pumped to try it out. I haven't tested it a bunch just yet, but I think that's going to be if it is you know accurate and powerful, um like a no brainer to add to like your audience targeting mix on the platform there.
Yeah, because I mean, it'd be like another section of like, okay, when someone's searching for this keyword, um, let's make sure they are this C level potentially. Um, I wonder what sort of match rate they have though of the searches, to the audiences,
Yeah.
because it's gonna have to be identified somehow, right? They're logged in on Bing. They have a pixel that's shared between. I don't understand. I have to look into that more, but
The
definitely
client
something
that
for
we
us to
just
try.
the client that we just spoke about, where we set
Yeah,
up those website actions, we
yeah.
got LinkedIn coverage and we got Bing.
We should
That's a
try
nice
it.
little next step here. We should just layer some of those
Yeah,
audiences on observation and see like what the data looks like. Wouldn't hurt.
yeah. Especially if you can do it on observation. Um, okay, well, there's a to do.
I'm gonna write that down as like a potential test here. I think that's like a no brainer.
Yeah, yeah. We'll have to come back and see how that goes. All right, cool.
Cool.
Well, that's all we got for today. I'm pretty sure. I know we all both have to go run into some meetings here today. It was good catching up. I'd love to do this on a weekly basis, but things have been busy, so every 2 weeks has kind of been working out. But we'll try to get back to weekly and get some
For
guests on
sure.
here. So
Yeah, we'll get some guests on here pretty soon here. I think that would be a nice addition to the mix here is getting some, maybe we can get somebody who's doing some cool testing within ChatGPT and just AI in general. And seeing
yeah,
how that's
for
been working
sure.
as of late. Especially with like
Okay.
some of this like video creation, some of these updates here. But yeah, I think
Yeah,
getting
I'm
back on a
thinking.
weekly schedule would be great.
Yeah, and I'm thinking too, like even on like LinkedIn, I haven't been really promoting this as much. I'm sure the social clips, but I think anytime we have a new podcast out, I'll post a whole snippet of like, hey, here's the latest podcast. Kind of put it forward out more,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then ask for guests if anybody wants to join. And I think that'd be a great place to collect guests.
Cool.
And then when we book this meeting, we'll definitely have to keep the meeting.
Yeah, you
It's
can't
just
cancel on a
balancing out
guest.
client work. I know. No, for sure, 100%.
Nah.
All right, cool, man. Well,
We'll
enjoy your
wrap it
day.
there.
Thanks, everyone.